Hello everybody, welcome in. Like my little Christmas trees here. I haven't been on for a few days. I've been enjoying the holiday with my family. My kids were home for a few days, and so I kind of logged off and enjoyed some time with the family. But I'm back and I'm in full Christmas mode. So we are going to do a fun Christmas tree today. I'm going to get this shared real quick into our group, Rock Painting Tutorials, so that they can watch along as well. And I'm trying a different camera angle today so that maybe you can see a little bit better, because what I'm going to be doing won't work quite as well overhead. So I'm starting off by just kind of creating the tree shape that I like. I'm going to do a different shape than the other two that I have up here. This one I'm going to kind of do a curly edge tree, because I've seen a few like that this year and they're really fun. I'm just going to give myself a really rough outline so that I kind of make sure that it's going to fit on there okay, and I'm not going to run out of space. And you can choose whether or not you want to put a star on the top of your tree or not. But see, we have three completely different shapes here, so you can really create this how you want. So once you have the shape that you like, we're going to start with our gold. And I'm going to give it a quick little shake because I haven't used my pens for a little over 24 hours, so let's make sure that it's going good. We're just going to trace over our lines that we had there. Now, as always, I always leave a link to these kinds of pens up above, just because you can't get these pens at craft stores most places. You have to order them online on Amazon. So that link is above. If you maybe want to add them to your Christmas shopping list, I know a lot of people might spoil themselves and buy themselves something for Christmas, or maybe you have a rock painting friend or buddy that you want to spoil by picking them up a pack of these fun pens. So we're just going to go along our outline, and I always go back over my outline again at the end, so I'm just going to give it a quick go over. And I think today I'm going to just leave my top just nice and pointy. We're not going to do a star today, just so to save time a little bit. So once you have your basic outline, we're going to start adding our dots. Now the first thing I like to do is go in and add my color dots. Now as you can see, I used blue for the ornaments on this one. This one I only did red and yellow. I kind of like it with the blue on there as well. So I'm using, these are the fine tip ones. There's even finer tips than these available, but this one looks about like that. And you can get some very small dots, and you'll see we'll go in with the green one and create some small dots. Let me make sure that this one's flowing. Okay, so I'm just going to go through and almost add my little ornaments, and I'm making them a little bigger than just dotting, because if you just dot, they'll be very small. So I'm going to just kind of almost go down my tree in an ornament style strand fashion, I guess you could say. And just go ahead and put those on there. And then I'm going to do yellow next. Maybe one more way up here at the top of the tree. There we go. And it's funny, I might talk a little bit less while I'm doing this. Something about putting dots down, I feel like I have to hold my breath, but don't hold your breath when you're painting. Make sure you breathe. If you need to move your pen away a little bit and take a breath, because I tend to. I don't know what it is. Something about doing the dots makes me nervous. I have done dot rocks before using eraser tips, which will work pretty well too, but I can't quite. You can use the tip of your pencil for dotting, or erasers. In here I'll even show you, I've got some that are covered in paint back here. See, and you can sharpen your eraser to give you different sizes. So if you don't have pens, that's okay. You can still create these fun trees. Next I'm going to go in with my slightly larger green pen, because we're going to start by doing the biggest dots. You always want to do your big dots first, and then you can go in and fill with your smaller dots. So I kind of like to work in the same pattern, and these two are the first time I ever did this tree at all. So I kind of picked up, this was the first one I did and I was kind of random. This one I started getting more of a pattern to it. So third time's a charm. You learn something new every time you paint a rock. So I'm going to actually fill it in the same almost pattern as my lights. So we're going to start in the corner, and you can kind of make little circles to make them bigger. I'm going to kind of spread them the same way down my tree. And you could go with even bigger dots than this if you wanted to. There is even a couple larger sizes of pens. I have one more size larger than this. And the link that I left there up above actually is for a 3-pack. You get this size that I'm using here, the smaller size that I used before, and one size that's a bit larger than this one. So you can kind of pick and choose, but you also have the option on the link that I left to pick whatever combinations of packs you want. So that's why I leave that one, because everybody kind of has different needs for pens. So now we kind of have some larger ones. We're going to come back in with our smaller pen, and I'm going to do some a little bit bigger than the tip first and fill in quite a bit. And again, if you're joining in a little bit later, I'm not talking nearly as much because I almost have to stop while I make my circles. But I'm glad you're here watching live. It's just kind of neat to sometimes see these pens are a little bit of an investment. So to kind of see them in action. Same thing with these rocks. I'm in about, oh gosh, I don't even know anymore. Probably 10 different rock groups. And I see these amazing rocks, but I have no idea how they do them. I have no idea if they're really, some people say, oh, they're just easy, but unless you see somebody do them, sometimes it's hard to just kind of take the plunge. Okay, that's filled in pretty good. Now for the last step, we're going to go in and make these itty bitty, see those itty bitty tiny? And we're going to do that by just dabbing the tip of this pen. And like I said, if you don't have these, you can sharpen a pencil nice and pointed, and you can get a pretty good dab going back and forth between your paint. And for this one, I definitely won't be chatting while I'm doing these. I just want to make sure I have the camera overhead, so I'm trying not to hit my head on the camera, but I also have to be able to see what I'm doing here. So we're going to start in this top section here. And you literally just tap. Basically anywhere you feel like you can fit a little dot. And you just fill in that whole area, see? Okay. See? Just like that. And these pens make it nice because you don't have to go back and forth between your paint. And I mean, I shake them up right at the beginning. But as you can see, you don't have to do a lot in between while you're painting. There we go. And you can fill these as much or as little as you want. Like so. There we go. Sometimes you have to kind of look back and see if you see any little gaps or areas. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to grab in my brown. I haven't done this on any of my other ones, but I feel like the trunk needs a little addition of some color. So we're just gonna very quickly add in a few dots. There we go. And like I said, once I get through with all that, I like to go back over my gold and really kind of crisp up my line, make sure it's nice and thick. See, like right here, it's not even connected. But that way also, if you have any dots that creep onto your line a little bit, you can get rid of them. So you can also make that a nice point at the top. But that's basically the gist of starting to make this fun dotted Christmas tree. And as always, if you do attempt one of these tutorials from Rock Painting 101, I love when you come back and leave pictures in the comments of the videos, because it's so neat to see them actually done. Now, if your gold gets away with you a little bit and you don't like what it looks like, or you kind of have a lump like this far one kind of got a little away from me, I've shown before in the tutorials, especially if you're working on a black black rock or a white rock, you can always go in with that color and use it almost like a whiteout. You know, you can come in here, and this is still wet, so I don't want to probably go on it too much here, but you can just come in and you can thin up that line just a little bit like that. See, just like that. Just if you do get a second color on your marker, you just dab it off on a damp paper towel so it doesn't dry in there, but it will be just fine. So there we have it. So we'll add this little tree to my collection here. And I hope you give this one a try. Make sure to follow along. You can follow the page Rock Painting 101 for more live tutorials. I try to get on a couple times a week and show you what I am up to. So thanks for joining me, everybody. Have a fantastic day.